Hello there. Welcome to You, Me,
and the podcast.
And we are here today. We are in a gabby mood. Let me tell you something. We are in a gab sesh.
I don't know what that means.
Gabbing?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Gabbing is?
No,
Gabbing
no.
is like, it's like yapping, but like less disrespectful.
We're in a yapping mood.
No, because that's disrespectful.
Oh, okay.
Like yapping is like,
okay, we're
you're
gabbing.
being annoying.
We're gabbing.
Gabbing is just like a little gab sesh.
Okay, we're in
like you're not gossiping, but you're like chatting.
We're gabbing.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
All right.
Little gab fest.
We talk about a lot of things.
Little
guys.
gab fest never hurt nobody. You could talk about how you look like Steve Jobs right now.
I look like Steve Jobs. I hate you. So I borrowed her shirt and I had no clue what was
Manprit is channeling her inner Tim Cook, Steve Jobs
Guys,
realness.
You're laughing now, but maybe the look is like channeling my inner like smarticles. Okay.
Smarticle particles.
And I'm gonna come out with an app like 2
and
years
I
from
look
now.
like a tree. What the hell?
And nobody's
the
gonna be laughing.
vibes are not vibing
Yeah, I know,
today.
I know. We're not. Nah, we're not. But it's okay.
Color theory
It's okay.
is something that we need to discuss beforehand.
Oh, that's where you were going with.
Yeah, color theory.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, no.
What did we talk about? We talked about a lot of things today.
Yeah, I definitely want to get our colors done. I think that could be a cool podcast episode if you guys want to see that. If not, we'll just film it and then put it behind a paywall and hope people buy it.
We'll see how that goes.
We'll see.
But we did talk about, what did we talk about? We talked about tech, trauma,
like we
childhood.
We are very we're in a gabby
Club Penguin.
We're in a gabby mood. Yeah. We're
so
gonna talk about nostalgia, what generation we are, and the nameless generation, I would say, of our generation and the niche.
So we kind of went through A through Z.
Yeah.
With all those topics.
And just niche. You know what this should be called? This should be called niche nostalgia.
Okay.
Because only a fraction of people are going to understand what we're talking about.
You'll
and
get
hopefully
to know
you're
what
one
we
of
mean.
them. hopefully
we feel like there's like a very small, like we're 1997 babies. We'll let the podcast do the talking.
If you had sheltered parents.
Yeah.
And you grew up in like the early to like mid 2000s. And you
early to mid late 90s. What are you talking about? We weren't even born in the early to mid 2000s.
We grew up in the early.
Oh, you grew up. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought I was.
Someone's clearly not listening
I thought
today.
you meant born in. I thought you were saying born in. Okay, we grew up.
I said if you grew up in the like early to mid 2000s. Okay.
Jasdeep, don't eat me.
You're gonna understand this very niche nostalgia. You're gonna know what Kick is. You're gonna know what Vines are. You're gonna know what Mini Clip is. You're gonna know what Club Penguin is.
Okay,
you're gonna know what 24 is. Hopefully,
I have no clue what 24 is, which is crazy.
Gosh, someone please validate my love for 24, you guys. I know my cousins do. I know my family. Dude, my entire family was obsessed with 24.
Really?
Yeah. I can't believe
what channel was it on? Do you have Dish Network?
No, we didn't have cable. Super side note. Huh. Did you ever have those dare officers that came and they passed around the black lung? You never had the drug officers?
Yeah.
Right, where they passed around the black lung.
We were in the cafeteria.
And then they traumatized you from ever touching a cigarette, ever? Yeah.
And then we did like the
dare kids.
And the drivers. The
drug driver, yeah.
Yeah. The drug driver one too.
Yeah, wow. Niche nostalgia, because I don't think today's kids have that.
Oh, they definitely don't have that.
Yeah.
They need that, but they don't have it, unfortunately.
So exactly, and even therapy is like getting to know yourself. Yeah, that's really all it is, right?
It's getting to know yourself and also healing the parts of yourself that are like fucked up, right? Because of stuff.
But also, I don't know about you, but there was so much stuff that I blocked out.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So to me, like, I was learning about myself.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. A perfect example is like his mom didn't like me. It really struck a chord with me. Like, you can ask him. I almost lost my mind. Right. You know?
Yeah.
And then I realized years later, I had the epiphany. I was like, oh my God, the reason why I did that was because my very first boyfriend, we got really, really serious. Yeah. And then his mom didn't like me and he left.
Oh.
So I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's
that's
coming
why,
from somewhere.
That's why learning about yourself is literally the most important thing.
You can catch those feelings on earlier now because you know exactly where they're coming from.
Exactly, right? Because then you're like, and then I told him, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that like, you know, I spun out and this, that, and the third.
Right.
And like, you know, because like this happened to me before. And like, I just like felt so many types of ways.
Yeah. Being able to communicate that is so important.
Right. Because, and so like, that's why I truly believe that like all therapy really is you learning about yourself. Yeah. Right. And like how to adjust. Yeah. Right. And how to kind of like move forward. Yeah. Right. And fix whatever you can.
Because if you're stuck in that same spot, time isn't gonna wait on you. You're only getting older, right? Exactly. You're gonna meet the love of your life. You're gonna have kids. But if you're not growing and if you're stuck in that same spot, then you're just giving that trauma to your kids because you don't really know how to deal with it.
And that's how we get intergenerational trauma. It's really tough because like someone like my mom, like she didn't really go to like formal therapy. My mom is truly a learner. Like she spent her entire life learning, right? So like I think like her inquisitive nature is kind of what brought her to like where she is. Yeah. Like my mom's stubborn, but like not about like the big things. She's stubborn. I feel like she's a big thinker.
Things. She's a huge thinker. And she self-reflects a lot. She definitely
self-reflects a lot.
On her face. I don't know how to explain it.
I think it's
she's like a very wise woman.
Like my mom like has faced so much like death and trauma and all these things like from a very young age. She's wise beyond her years, not because of like you know she's acquired all this wisdom. It's because she's been through a lot of shit. Yeah. And like I think the problem with like people like that is like it's a good and a bad thing because like one like you know it's a great thing because you're always like constantly evolving and changing and growing and stuff. Yeah. But it's a sucky thing because it's like you never really got to experience like childhood.
I feel like these traumas rob time from you.
Oh,
they rob a lot of time from you. Absolutely. And again, your childhood gets robbed, right? Your teens get robbed. Exactly. What you should be doing in that moment of time, not worrying about bills, not worrying about these things. These traumas don't let you enjoy the way you should be, and that sucks. It's like because it doesn't come back. Time doesn't come back.
It's like when people are like about like immigrant parents. It's like you know be gentle with your parents because it's the first time that they're experiencing life as well. Yeah. Right. And it's like that's so true. Yeah. Right. Like my mom. Like I'm like damn. Like you know like this is your first time. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like I've been to weddings. Right. Like this was like and that part of the reason why my family is the way it is. Right. It's like. This is their first time like being that up close and personal in weddings. Right. I've been blessed to be able to
There's a kind of intimacy that comes with these weddings. Right.
And I've been blessed to be able to like be up front and center with like a lot of my friends' weddings and stuff like that. And my cousins and stuff like that. And like, you know, really being able to do all like the God we had and this, that, and the third and like, you know, really having like an eye for that kind of thing. But then there's like, you know, like my parents haven't seen a wedding like now they have, but like done here where you're hosting and all these things and all that, right?
Hosting a wedding and just being in the forefront of something that is so close to your heart. Yeah. I think it's a very vulnerable thing. Yeah. Because you got to show every emotion of you, right? You're in front of these people 24/7, same family members, and then all these emotions hit you, and I don't know, like there's a lot that goes into the planning, but there's also a lot that goes in emotionally. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I definitely think that's like that's a thing. And I think also like with like my mom in particular, I think my mom is I wish she was the norm, but I don't think she is.
You wish she was what?
I wish she was the norm, but I don't think she is.
That's why I texted you the other day, and I was just like, bro, your mom, she has seen some shit, but she has also healed a lot of her own shit. And how the hell did she do that? What can I learn from this experience? What can I learn from your mom, right?
We went to Michigan to see some of our friends, and they were like, you know, like the girls like, oh, like, you know, my like dada per dada was like, you know, like something loud, but yeah, and like, you know, like him and like the girl are going about it. Yeah. Like, you know, they're like, oh yeah, like my nana this, my dada that, right? Yeah. And me and the guy, like it was his friend, right? And I was like, we're sitting across from each other. And he was like, so, Bobby, did that verdad que kasi mega ora ni kakanigita.
Be like, we don't gotta go there.
Kakanigita. And he was like,
the rap sheet is pretty short.
He was like, "Sade dade pardade tabasana like desi pendu jati
right?
And I was like,
living the life,
they're just normal people, right? And I was
John a Sunday,
exactly. And I was like, yeah, me too. And we were just laughing because they were like, oh, like that's so important.
Going into the history and stuff,
right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we just come from a normal ass family. I was like,
that's so funny.
I was like, there's no spiel.
That's so cool though to have like that kind of lineage.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's a lot of pressure though, because it's just like if I come from them, what am I doing with my life?
But all of that to say, like one thing that I can say is that my especially like my mom's side, like my like nanke, they have been able to like put out women that are so strong and so fiercely independent, and they have really empowered the women in their family. Because like my nanny's family, like he like recently met my nanny's family, and my nanny's family is like very well educated. They are very like high like society people, right? To the point where like my mom like when we go over to their house in India, right? Like that's my mommy who lives in Chandigarh.
Okay.
Like when we go over to my stepdad's house, like nothing.
Right.
Jidda marji jana, like they're hella pained, right? They live in the pain.
Yeah.
And so like whatever.
Yeah.
When we went to my nanke, dude, my mom would sit us down. She'd be like, "Je baar jana, je nanke jana na."
Yeah.
Terrified नहीं करनी.
Yeah.
ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ.
Yeah.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਾਥਰੂਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਨਾ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਬੁਲਾਵੇ ਨਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਨਾ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਣ ਪਾਣੀ ਪੀਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ.
Holy crap,
ਜੇ ਉਹ ਪੁੱਛਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਖਾਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ.
This is a military family right here.
She was like, show some decorum.
Right.
Act like you've been somewhere before.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
She was like, ਇਹ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਲੋਕ ਆ. Right? ਕੋਈ ਹਲਤ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕੋਈ ਉੱਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ, ਕੋਈ ਏਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ, ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਣੇ ਆ. Right? Like my mom was so strict because she was like, because like just like the way that they like they're very educated, so like they like she's like you can't act like fools basically, right? And like at my dad get like nobody gave a shit, right? Like at my stepdad's family's house, like nobody gave a shit, bro. We would do so many elta, bro.
Right.
So many elta, like we would tear it up, bro. My mom was like, "Hillana nahi hai tusi."
Yo, but you gotta tell me, which house did you make the most memories in?
I mean, like obviously at my honestly my nanke, like as much as my mom says that like they were like that, like I have some of the fondest memories like with my nanke because they're like because my mom would.
Did they know how to have fun? Like,
oh, absolutely. Okay. Like one time I remember like they live in Namashad, right? So they live in like a city, right? Yeah. But the thing is that my mama is so dope. Like he's so chill, right? Like I love going back to my nanke house. You know how like in like you see in like Punjabi cereals, or like Indian cereals where they have like where they have like the balcony and like the balcony has like that tile, and then they have like a chula and then like the plants and everything. Yeah. That's exactly what my nanke house
dude,
is,
it feels like home, man. Nanke's like
it's so nostalgic,
a whole different situation,
nostalgic, right?
Yeah.
And so my mama, so like their house, like here's their house, and then literally across the street they built like a miniplex, right?
Okay.
And so they were like playing Angrez at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mama ji, aise movie dekhni hai. Mind you, we've already eaten roti and everything, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's like 9. There was like 8:30.
Where was your mom at this point?
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, Mama ji, does he movie dekhni hai? No, actually, like what I said was I was like, Mama ji, does he movie dekhni hai? Right. Yeah. Because like it was me and my brother and then like his son, right? Okay. My cousin. Yeah. And so they had like made the plan. They were like, just so you ask, because he's not gonna say no to you. Oh, okay. And so I was like, okay. I was like, I'll ask, right? Yeah. And Mama ji's not intimidating, right? I was like, Mama ji, isi movie dekhni hai. And I was like, appa kal nu dekh ke aa sakde hain. He was like, hone chalo. I was like, all right.
Oh, it's lit.
And then
mama know.
So
they know how to keep things lit, man.
And I was like, really?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, my mommy to watch gang. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. Yeah. And so mom was like, Mommy, Mama ji kehende ho sanu movie dekhan le jooge, right? Kite nahi jana. Bhai chup karke. No. And I was like, but mommy, Mama ji kehende
how old were you at this time?
I was probably like, I was a teenager.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, oh mama ji कहते उन्होंने टेक्टा.
You gotta say that he said it.
Yeah, I was like उन्होंने टेक्टा
he said, she said
right?
situation.
And she was like, so like my mama ji, like his dad was still alive at that point, so she was like, nee mama ji, like her mama ji is gonna like be gusse, right?
Oh, okay.
I was like, je aap ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਲਿਆ ਫਿਰ, and then she was like nee ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਕਰੂਗੇ.
Yeah.
I was like nee, I was like मैं पूछां.
Yeah.
She was like ਪੁੱਛ ਲਾ. She was like ਜੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਪਈਆਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, right?
Yeah.
I was like okay. So I go and I was like we used to call it like my nana ji Darji, right?
Yeah.
I was like Darji, ਅਸੀਂ movie ਦੇਖਣ ਜਾਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ.
What time is it?
It's like 8:35, okay. 8:40ish, right? PM.
Yeah, right.
And so he's like, Jayo, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, Jayo. He was like, make sure like when you guys cross the street, like
right.
you know, dhyan na jayo, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I like ran down to my mom. I'm like, Mommy.
Guess what? Guess what he said? Yeah.
Like, okay. She's like, nee, like, man, na dekhe. So then she like pops in her head in like his room.
Yeah.
She's like, Daddy.
She was kind of hoping that he'd say no.
She was like, Daddy, ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ movie ਇੱਕ ਦਿਖਾ ਲਿਆਈਏ. And she's like, no, ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ, right?
Yeah.
So we went and we watched this movie across the street.
Nice.
Yeah. And like, bro, like my mom just like, I feel like my mom like kind of felt like we wouldn't act right if like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, like my mom used to like, she used to
right. Right. It doesn't matter who the kid is.
I think so.
I feel like having.
I think we could have used the restroom at my nan's game.
Okay, yes.
Like, you know, be honest.
You have the right to use the restroom.
Right?
You have the right for some water, a morsel, maybe even. I mean, you need it to survive and be, you know, be alive. But I do think that like your mom was in the right. Like, you know, just keeping you on your toes.
I think that shows some decorum. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just like, if you let your kids loose, I have shot how many weddings, right? And I have seen kids just run around, no parents in sight, and they're just going gorilla, like they're going bananas, and they're just going all over the place. And I'm just like, where are your parents? Why aren't they keeping track of you?
Go up to like the golak.
Yeah.
And like nobody's checking on them.
Oh, yeah.
I get so upset.
Oh yeah. Right.
I get so upset. I'm like,
and
what are you doing?
For some parents, like this is like a public daycare because, you know, nothing bad is gonna happen to the kids.
Like,
it's all
put
family.
A fucking leash
like
on,
no,
like the little
you
like
still need to take care of your kids.
Band to band, you know what I mean?
You know, and to them it's just like, okay, I'll let the kid go eat your samosa, whatever. I'm gonna get my break. But that's just not public decency. Come
exactly.
On.
Yeah.
You don't go to this event just to unleash your wild ass kid. Little monkey.
Some
needs
people
a leash.
do, and that's the issue.
I've grown up with the same kind of sort of like stern bringing, and honestly, like no regrets, right? Because you know, like obviously in that moment you're a kid, you want to do what you want to do. Yeah. I have pictures of me and my cousins, like we hopped on one of our family cars because we all lived, like we were a joint family at one point, like we all lived in one house. Just kind of crazy. But in Yuba City, you know, like coming over, it was a small one story, and you know, it was like Rugrats. We were like Rugrats, Punjabi version, all the little kids running around all the time. But like you would see pictures of us like just jumping on our cars and stuff and just going crazy and gorillas and stuff. So it's just like that middle ground, I guess, of making sure that in front of like lokan de samne, you know, like if we're out in public, we're gonna be behaved kids. And that's what we were. It's crazy. We would go out to like parts and like nagakirtans and stuff, and we would be the most disciplined kids, you know? In front of all the other kids. And I'm not gonna lie to you, we were sad as F. We would see all these other kids having fun, eating ice cream, whatever, and we're over here like, Mummy, is the ice cream kha sakte?
You know, one thing I will tell you though, it's like with my parents, right? I feel so bad for them sometimes because they don't realize that like other people's kids are horrible. And they think that it's just their kids, and they think that it's just
like on a scale of other kids and us, we are at like
we don't do half the shit that they do,
man. Seriously,
we don't do like nearly like as much
like the bad in their heads is like nothing. It's like swatting a fly.
Bro, the way that like some people talk to their like I've witnessed them talk to like their parents. I was like, I would never in my dreams
the audacity
talk to my mom like that.
Right. I'm just like, how are you getting away with it?
I'm like, dude, my mom would shoot me a look.
When we were kids, it was illegal to go on Club Penguin. Okay.
Exactly.
We were kids and our parents, I remember my pua made a Penguin account and she didn't tell any one of us. And she found out what world we were in because you could go on like a certain world or whatever. And so all the cousins, like we would hang out, you know, like doing our shit, whatever. And this one penguin just walks in. I kid you not. I don't know how older my pua is from us. She's like in her... She's in her late 30s at this point. But basically she was immature enough to name her penguin Padison. So the penguin's name was Padson, Fartson, okay? She would follow us around and just speak Punjabi and be like, Kidna. And we would all be spooked, like, holy crap, who is this person? And then she would say our names. She'd be like, Amrit, Manprit, where are you guys going? Tony, right? And we were just like, why is this penguin following us? How do they know who you are? We're all spooked. We're all little kids, right? And we're on the phone with each other. We have a conference call going, okay? with the landlines. And we were like, guys, I don't know who this is. We're all freaking out. And this is just our pua, just like trolling us and just following us around, just making sure we're not doing some dumb shit. But it was just like, you know, and now that I'm thinking about it, it was just like, it was good times. It really was. It was really naive times. And the thing is, what our parents did is they just made sure we didn't get in the wrong situations on accident, because we didn't know that there are predators out there who are preying on kids like us who don't know what the hell the world is yet. And even like growing up, like my brother is now 16, the youngest one. And as he was in that age 10 to 14, 15, I was scared out of my mind. I was like a second mom to him because, like, you know, I basically raised him too. And it was just like, what if he's on Kick, like apps like Kick, where you're able to speak to strangers and, you know, I don't know what this kid is doing, right?
Fun fact, I actually started talking to my very first boyfriend on Kick. But I mean,
how'd you find him?
No, I knew him like outside of
but
like
Kick was
in reality.
I see.
And then I messaged him on Kick for the first time.
Kick days. KIK. Remember those days?
That's so interesting because, again, Lovey, do you know what Kick is? Do you know what Kick is? Okay, yeah. So I might.
It's our generation thing then, right? Like it's just us.
I may be a Zoomer, but I feel like Gen Z doesn't. I feel like my brother wouldn't know what Kick is. I feel like we need our own generation.
Kick was a very short-lived thing.
But so was Vine.
But we're the same. But we're the same age, so it kind of makes sense that we've experienced
I'm saying like there's a lot of like my brother doesn't really know what Vine is. Like he doesn't Vine reference everything.
Vine was a little short-lived too.
So it's like I like all these short like lived things. I feel like we have.
Like we need our own little generation. We have our own little era going.
Like transitional period.
97 babies, right?
To like 2002-3 max.
2003 is stretching it.
Yeah
1996 to 2001 maybe, I would say. 2003 is stretching it. Those are
2002 I would say, because like the world was still changing so much after like 9/11 that like we saw, right? Because like I was in first grade in 2001.
I think anything before 2000, honestly, man. Like I don't know. I think the internet took a very quick turn, and
but Zoomers were not old enough to experience.
Remember when Instagram was a thing? Like when Instagram started being a thing, and then everyone was like, "Oh, you can only post once a day, and if you post twice or 3 times a day, like you're crazy."
Oh, dude,
like there were
so many unwritten rules on Instagram.
There were so many rules.
Instagram has always been that girl. Like she has always been that girl where there's so many unwritten rules. Yeah, I remember one time.
If you break them, it's over. Everyone is gonna judge you.
I remember in like the 2010s, one of my friends in high school, he told me, he was like, I like followed him. I was like, oh, I just made an Instagram account. Like follow me. He was like, you have more numbers of posts than you have followers.
Oh my god, that's ratio. Weird. That ratio though.
And then I was like, oh, does that really matter? He's like, yeah. He was like, and you can't have more followers, or you can't have more following than followers.
Remember iFunny?
Yes.
iFunny was the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also really interesting because like the inception of YouTube and like YouTubers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like our generation was just different.
You know why? Because we grew up watching Fred. What was his name?
Oh,
Fred?
No.
Annoying Orange. There's
Annoying Orange. Was his name Fred?
The
blonde boy?
Yeah, Fred, right?
I think it was Fred.
Something? It was Fred, and then like
it was some basic white boy name.
It was Fred. It had to be Fred.
I'm pretty sure it was Fred.
I don't know what his like full name was.
He had like
Fred.
A whole like
he had a movie, dude. Disney,
he had movies,
Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
Nickelodeon. He made a movie.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened to him. Is he alive?
Oh, his name's Lucas.
Yes. Yeah.
He I was following him for a little bit on YouTube after this was like pretty recently. It was like in 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
I haven't followed up with him.
Dude, those were the days, man. Things were much simpler.
Also, when Shane Dawson was like unproblematic.
Okay, you know what's crazy?
What?
So I just said things were much simpler, and that's what it always seems like. But that's what like our parents say about their times. Things were much simpler, and I'm pretty sure that the kids going in, right, the kids who are younger than us, the generation leading, they're gonna be like kids like things were much simpler back then.
I think things were simpler. If you think back to like even before like 9/11, things
it's
were
a very common phrase, though.
I
feel
know
like it's
people whose parents came here on their siblings' passport.
Yeah. Right.
Things were simpler.
Right.
They like there wasn't like 2-factor authentication to everything.
I also believe though that like things are as simple as you make them.
Well, yeah, that's obviously true, but I'm saying like in the sense of like security and everything like that, and like things there definitely was like it was a happier time because there weren't people doing as many nefarious things. I think that's what like our parents mean by it, especially like the 90s, right?
I think the nefariousness, if that's even a word, I personally believe that it's just coming to surface more. But I think back then there was still a lot of evil.
I think so, but I think also like in the 90s, I think that there may have been more like there may have been less ulterior motives.
I think there was just
because like even now like I meet some people and I'm like there's some people that I meet where I'm like, bro, like this person only wants to know what my follower
I think there were less
is.
tools for the bad people to do bad things.
That too, and I think there was also like less tools for people to judge you based on, right? Yeah. Now you can look at somebody's social media and stuff like that. Yeah. Like our world has become
or people
smaller,
bullying each other over the screen, right?
But,
like with these
more
comments
information
and whatnot.
of us as people has become available.
Yeah.
Right, even if you have a private
not
Instagram,
even available that stuff away.
But even
if I'm trying to get like a free like LUT or whatever, like for my editing, my video editing, I'm like, you want my social security? Go for it. It's $0. I need this LUT. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Okay,
but
I mean, realistically, it's just my name and email, but you get what I mean.
Even if you're like really like like really safe about it and everything, right?
Yeah.
Like even if you have like an Instagram account, even if it's private, right?
Yeah.
We can still see, okay, you have 320 followers, you're following this many people.
Yeah.
Right. And then if we have mutuals, we can see all those people.
Right.
Yeah. And then if you have Facebook, it gives a certain amount of information that
dude,
is like,
if I really wanted to, Jasdeep, I can look at all your social media accounts and tell you exactly what you were doing yesterday all day from hour to hour.
Exactly.
And that's kind of very scary.
Exactly.
Because it's just like we're talking about, we're not private anymore. Our iPhones can listen to us. But it's like, why does that matter if we're already giving out all of our information?
Yeah, and like
anyway,
that's
right?
why like Twitter was always like such an interesting space for me because like Twitter is like so like out there.
Yeah.
Like Twitter, I feel like
Twitter promoted you to give your personal details out.
I like when I look at Twitter, there's no sort of barrier unless you're private.
Yep.
Right?
But if you're private, then why are you on Twitter? Unless you're there for the memes or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, right.
But it's just like there was like a way, like a social status, I guess.
Yeah.
Of how many retweets am I gonna get? How many likes am I gonna get?
Yeah.
Am I following people? Yeah. And like in the Desi community, it's just like everybody's following everybody, and like there's like all this drama that used to come up and all the subtweeting.
And Twitter group chats. Oh my god.
There were Twitter group chats, dude. And I would be in like one of them. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like I was in one of them, max, and I was like, this is way too toxic for me. I'm not a part of this.
Yeah.
Super brown, super like cringe. But yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, and I think the world has become like a smaller place, and I think information travels so fast.
Yeah.
That it's really hard. Like even if like bro, like there was one time where like I was like watching something and I was like, I know this is bad for me. Mm-hmm. But it's really hard to put the phone down.
That's wild.
And so it's like I think when our parents talk about that, it's like, well, like it was kind of simpler because even if you had access to a phone, you had minutes.
Right.
Because I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you remember, but when we got phones, we had a certain amount of text.
Flip phones, dude.
Right.
Those razors.
First of all, it took you 3.5 days to draft a text.
I know.
When you have to go like
it was like Morse code.
It took you 3.5 days to draft a text.
Right.
Let alone send multiple texts.
Actually, I lied. We had a lot of time back then.
Right? Like, but even then, like, you know, who wants to sit there and like look like a, like, you know?
See, personally, I just want to put it out there. I can't relate because I got my first phone in like late high school.
I got my first phone in late high school too, but I had a really shitty phone. Yeah. So like I didn't get a keyboard. I got like the little alphanumerical keyboards, right? Yeah. And so I was like, bro, like, what am I gonna do? Like, you know, you get on at that point, you get on the computer, you make a text now thing, right?
So, and I'm gonna ask you this question, but I want to know, like, what was our day-to-day like back then, right? Without obviously all the social media and, you know, work. We're older now.
In terms of
like
a weekday or a weekend.
So you come home from school. Somebody picks you up, drops you off. You come from the bus.
School.
Yeah. What is the first thing you do? What does your day look like? It's a Wednesday.
You put your shit down, you turn on the TV, you ask mom what there is for lunch, and you put on freaking like whatever afternoon cartoons.
What were your afternoon cartoons? I'm asking you, how did your day look like?
So when I was really young, the Jackie Chan show.
Was it the cartoon
Warner
one?
Brothers? Yeah. Okay. And then Yu-Gi-Oh would be on. And then if my mom allowed us to be like on late enough, then at 5:30, Pokemon came on.
Nice.
And so there was my mom had to be in a good mood.
Yeah.
When I got older when I got older, it would be, we would like finish all of our homework. So when we got into like middle school, my mom would like make sure we did all of our homework first. Okay. So then it would be at 5, The Simpsons, or at 5, King of the Hill would come on. At 5:30, it would be Family Guy. Right. And then at 6, it would be The Simpsons. But The Simpsons was on a different channel. Oh. So we had to like covertly change the channel. Nice. And then I remember one time, like the reason why we got banned from watching Simpsons was because there was an episode and my mom, like, dude, we had.
What do you mean you got banned from watching Simpsons? Oh, your parents saw something.
Yeah. So we had literally covertly changed the channel and everything, right? And so my mom, like, it was just such Marty Gismith, bro. Yeah. My mom walks in and Marge is looking at a bra.
Oh, God.
And my mom was like, Bandagaro.
Just having, just a bra, bro.
Bandagaro right now.
An animated bra.
And I was like, oh, shit. She's like, ¿dónde cartoon? And I was like,
oh. Damn. It's over. It's over, bro.
And then, but here's the weird part about all that, right? My parents would let us watch like CSI.
You're right.
They would watch CSI with us.
Right.
They would watch 24.
But if you're watching stuff without them knowing exactly what it is, right? If they're not watching it with us, then it's just like, we don't know what's going on here. There's a bra. There shouldn't be a bra in a kid's TV show. So this is a no-go.
My parents would watch like 24. Do you remember what 24 is?
No.
Oh, jeez.
What was
you
it?
don't know who Jack Bauer is?
Yeah. What?
Oh my God.
Wait,
you guys.
What was
let us know in the comments below if you know who Jack Bauer is. Because I need somebody. Dude.
Oh, Jack. No, I don't know who Jack Bauer is.
24 was such a, like, it had 10 seasons.
What was it?
It went on from 2001 to 2011.
What was it?
So it was basically a show. And like, is
it like Jackass?
No. You've seen the premise of the show before.
Okay, maybe.
Because it basically was a show that it would be in 24 hours. Okay. There was some kind of national security threat, right? And like basically the whole season it revolved around 24 hours. That's why it was called 24. And so like if you've ever seen like where it has like multiple screens and then there's a countdown timer in the middle and it goes dee-doo, dee-doo, dee-doo,
girl.
Dee-doo. If you've seen this before, because cartoons have parodied it.
Later. Yeah.
Cartoons have parodied it. Like TV
so this
shows
used to come on.
24 would come on like, mind you, like, this was like by that time, like, it was only reruns.
Yeah.
But we would be able to watch 24 because it was like serious. It was like national security. It also started in 2001. So this was right after, like, around the anniversary of 9/11. It was like talking about a national security threat. So like, yeah. But Jack Bauer was like the guy, Kiefer Sutherland. Guy. Please, if somebody in the comments below can validate my experience of watching 24.
I did not watch shows as a kid.
Oh, I didn't watch shows either.
Is this middle school? Is this what are we talking about? When did you watch 24? When did you watch
So we started watching 24 in, I would say, like, middle school.
Okay.
Because, so it'd be twofold. So one, there would be reruns. And two, my mom would take us to the library. And you could rent out the full season.
Oh, okay.
Of a 20, like, any of the seasons that had come before.
Yeah.
So you could rent out, like, basically like a season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Pop that shit in.
Right.
Golden.
So
for like the next few days.
Okay, so the reason why I don't know about the show, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't even watch The Simpsons until probably in college.
Really?
I haven't seen half of these shows like the only things that I've really watched would probably be Power Rangers and Cops, because Cops always came after Power Rangers. So you would watch Power Rangers and then the Bad Boys theme song would come on and be like, okay, let's go, this is why we're here, right? All the kids would just sit down and be like, okay, here we go guys, it's on. And that shit was like, it was fun.
So what was your, like,
so let me tell you,
like?
Yeah, and it's crazy how different we are, right? Like how differently we've grown up, but we've really seen the same shit. So my parents, they would work till late, so I would come home around 3:30 from the bus. My parents would come home late from work, like 5, 6. All right. Dad sometimes 7, 8. So nobody's home and it's just me. This was before my brother was born. Even when my brother was born, like my nanny was there taking care of him, but I took the bus, right? So I had to be my independent self. On that bus ride, I would finish all my homework. I would make it a mission, because from the point where school ended to the point where we got home, it took easily an hour, right? We had to go through all the stops and then finally get to my stop. We had to wait in the cafeteria until the buses came, whatever it was. I had the time to get all my homework done. So what I would do is I would just do all my homework, do as much as I can, get it all done. And then I had a computer addiction. So I wasn't watching TV. I would make my food real quick, PB&J sandwich, whatever it was, or if there's roti, I would eat roti, right? And I would go straight to the computer. It was so bad that my parents had to put like the parental restrictions on the Windows XP computer, right? Those are so annoying. I still remember how it looks like. There was like little boxes that represented each hour, and then basically the more you shade in, like, you know, that's the hours that's not restricted or whatever. And I would find loopholes. I really would. Sometimes my mom would accidentally leave the computer open. So what I would do is I would quickly go on the parental restrictions, go on my account, unshade everything so I don't have any restrictions, and I would log it out and I'd be like, all right. And my mom said I only have an hour after school to play RuneScape. So I would play. So first it started with miniclip.com. I don't know if you remember that. That's where all the games were, right? So we started off with Club Penguin.
Oh, geez.
See, it's a very small period of time, bro.
Small period of time.
So we would go on Miniclip. We would go on Club Penguin.
Is Miniclip still up?
It probably is. I think it is. Yeah? I think it was bought by Disney, actually.
Really?
Was Miniclip bought by Disney, or was Club Penguin solely bought by Disney?
I think it was
Club Penguin. Yeah. I don't know about Miniclip, but I think it's still up.
Do you know what Club Penguin is?
Okay, anyway,
jeez, you're missing out.
So Club Penguin was when we were kids, but then obviously we level up, we grow older, we get more sophisticated. RuneScape came to play, and it's basically like a multiplayer like game, an online PC game where you get to talk to people, make friends, whatever, chop on wood, make money, trade stuff. And I don't know, like it was just a thing, and it was very addicting because you wanted to level up and all these different skills and whatnot. So my cousins and
did you ever go on Gaia Online?
Not Gaia, but I did go on Fantage.
Oh,
so I was on Fantage and Movie Star Planet, if we're talking about that category of games.
I had a Gaia profile for so long, and really? Like I never like
I made a Gaia account, but the game just never made sense to me. I was more of a nerd, right? Like, I don't know. I was more on the geeky side.
Like Gaia was always a little weird, but Manja put me onto Gaia. And
okay.
She had like an avatar.
It's always one of the older cousins who.
Yeah, she had like 1,700 points, and I could never get past like 1,000, and I was like.
So okay. So have you heard of RuneScape though?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I know what RuneScape
so RuneScape, I started
never,
with my buddies.
That was never like my type of game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But basically at the end of the day, I got so addicted that every time after school, I would make sure I got all my homework done in the bus so that I had more time for playing games. And it got so bad, my parents realized that like the limitations is not going to stop her, so they took the mouse and they would hide it. So they would hide the whole mouse or the keyboard. But I would be so dedicated to playing my game. The addiction was real. You know, like a crackhead on the streets will be like, they will find a way to get their crack, okay? And that was me with the mouse, bro. I would be like, I am gonna find it. And so their hiding spaces were not even that crazy. Like there'd be like in the closets, like they would be like kapade, like piles of clothes and stuff, and they would just sneak the mouse over there thinking they're so smart. And I'm like, bruh, you hid the mouse 200 feet away from the computer. Like this ain't gonna work. So I would just bring the mouse out, plug it in, play my games, and right when I hear the garage opening, I'm like, okay, they're home. Unplug that shit, put it right where the hiding spot was. And that's how my brain just started churning, like, okay, we can be smart about this. But
okay, so
good times.
first of all, dial-up internet. There was my mom would literally call and she would be like, "मैं phone करना है, जे तुसी internet दे होए ना."
She'll know. She will know. Yeah.
Fuck. So once wireless internet or like wired internet came, bro, oh my fucking god.
Yeah.
That shit made life so much easier for like the kids.
Right. Yeah.
But then you know what my mom started doing? She would like hide the keyboard and stuff, right? But that wouldn't stop us.
Yeah.
So what did she start doing? Yeah. She started taking the wire to the Ethernet wire.
Oh yeah.
To the router.
Oh, that's tough. Right.
And she would hide that.
Wow.
Or better yet, when we got really bad, she would just take it with her wherever she was going.
Oh my gosh, yes. So you know what's crazy? Same thing. They would start taking the mouse.
Yeah.
But little did they know, in that big box of wires in the garage, there was a mouse in there. There was an old mouse with the little ball in it that rolls around, right? Yeah. It's not a laser mouse. It's the little old-fashioned ones. And I would do whatever I can to make that work, man. If you want to play, if you got to play, you got to play. You got to make it work somehow.
That crack is seriously too real.
Nah, dude, it was.
No, yeah, like my mom, like she tried everything. She tried, but here's the thing: my parents weren't like super sophisticated. Did your parents do the parental kit like stuff on their own?
I mean, they got my fufu to do it. He's the computer scientist guy.
No, so you know what's fucked up is like my mom would make my brother do it.
Oh no!
Because my brother was
Wait, what's the age difference between you and your brother?
A year.
Oh shoot!
My brother was so annoying. He still kind of is. So glad I'm editing the podcast. He's just like one of those people where like he was trying to be a goody two shoes, so he didn't get into trouble.
Right.
So he'd like butter up my mom and be like, "Oh, like you know, mommy, I can do this, I can do that."
Oh
this, that, and the
no!
third. And he'd put parental controls on like like all that stuff. So I like, dude, I got to play Cult Penguin like once.
Oh no!
And I was like,
I'm sorry.
And so I would go over to my cousin's
house.
Even
Miniclip gets blocked if you block something. Yeah. So the whole domain gets blocked. But somehow, I don't even remember how, I found a way around that. Like, I don't know, it wasn't incognito mode. It was something else where if you change, not the URL, if you like find Miniclip through a different website, then you're still able to play those games or something. So there was always a loophole if you knew how to find it.
Middle school. My parents, because like they made the mistake of getting me because I wasn't allowed on the computer, but they made the mistake of getting me a PlayStation, like the PSPs.
Oh, the portables, right? Yeah. And
that shit had a web browser. Internet there. Yeah. So I was watching YouTube. That shit was my fucking jam.
For me, that was the Nintendo DSi, dude. When the Nintendo DS came out, and you realize there was internet on that.
God, I loved it so much. Yeah. And I just like, even like going on the internet, like being on Facebook and stuff, I just wanted to be normal. Yeah. I just wanted friends.
But it's also like the forbidden fruit, right? Like when your parents say you can't go on.
Me, like I just wanted a friend, bro. Yeah. Like I didn't have.
That's how the predators get you, bro.
That too.
To catch a predator, man.
Right.
I've seen all those episodes.
Like for me, I just like I didn't feel like I related to anybody in my household, so like I just wanted to like connect with people that I like knew or like didn't know, right? That's like really naive way of thinking, but I think like,
well, that's where all these games come into play. You make online friends, you feel like you belong,
right? And
you
like,
have an initiative, like something to achieve.
And that's the thing, right? And I think it's important to like your socialization process almost.
Yeah.
And it's like, not like, obviously, like I wasn't meeting up with these people, right? Like I wasn't like, I didn't have the facilities to do all that. Yeah. But it feels good when you're talking and like you're playing a game or whatever, and like, you know, you're talking to somebody and like it's like, oh, like how old are you? And it's like like they're like around the same age as you, and like, you know, that's so cool because it's like, oh, like, you know, like what kind of school do you go to and stuff like that, and this, that, and the third, right? And so like, you know, like that, I think that relatability factor kind of like, you know, like at that stage was kind of like that. And I think that isolating, like, because like my true thing was like, I like later on in life I realized I was like, damn, like I'm not getting something at home that I'm looking for elsewhere, right? And for me that was just like some sort of connection, whether it was to my parents, whether it was to my brothers, whether it was to like whoever, like, you know, it was just a connection, right? And that's why I like made such like, that's why like for me I became a reader. I was a nerd in that way, right? So like I became a reader. I read a lot. I loved books. Yep. I still do. Like, I still have a Kindle and everything.
It's crazy you mentioned that because I read a lot too. And I don't even remember that phase of my life. But I would literally fall asleep with a book on my face. And the lamp would still be on. There'd be like a lamp in my room. Dude. And that lamp would still be on in the morning. And then there'd be like a book, like just flat
I was that kid with a little flashlight reading. Because I was that person.
I couldn't be bothered, bro. I'd be like just as comfortable as I could. Just reading as much
and that's
as I
why,
could.
dude, that's why getting a Kindle like healed my inner child from like all those times where like I was like trying to hold a book. Like, right. Like
arms would start hurting.
Right. Or trying to get comfortable with the book or whatever, right? Or when you start a book that's a paperback and it doesn't have like the same.
It doesn't have
like the like where you can hold it properly, right?
Those good times.
It's just like, you know, like
can we talk about how underrated reading is? I feel like my vocabulary it is what it is because I read so much.
But see, that's what I mean by life was simpler back then. Life was. It truly was. And again, like that's not to bash on like what life is right now. Right. I'm just saying like life in that
there are more methods of addiction now. Readily available to the masses.
Back in the day, like when I was a kid, like you could be addicted to RuneScape and stuff like that, right? But realistically, you're not going to be, because at school for 8 hours a day, you're offline. Right. So at least a third of your life, you're not spending, right? Yeah. Now, like from what I've heard from my brother, who recently graduated high school, everything's on a tablet. Yeah. Everything's on a, like, you know, it's so unserious. Yeah. Right?
And I think there's something like there's something so profoundly different from learning on a tablet versus reading a book. Right? Yeah. And highlighting things physically, annotating things. I think those are very drastically different things.
My brother didn't know what annotating meant.
But it's a part of the learning process. Right? I think it's a very crucial part.
I saw this man write, and even the way he held the pen, I was like, what?
Right.
How have you gotten this far?
I think things that are considered old school, like they still have something very
I am such a motor skills type of girly. Like I if I write things down in my planner or my calendar or whatever, I'm way more liable for them than if I like type just put them in my phone. Yeah. Even though I have my phone on me all the time.
Yeah. You know, I think technology has its time and place.
Oh, absolutely.
But a lot of people don't know that. They think that this is something that I can just let take over my life and of every aspect and just run with it, because they haven't seen the other side of it. Yeah.
Because like honestly, like when I write stuff down, I remember things faster, right? It just like kind of goes to show of like all the things of like, you know, like technology can get so sophisticated and all these things, but like there's still something to like the motor skills of it all.
But I've also noticed, dude, kids who have grown up in that TikTok generation, like their attention span is like 10 seconds max. Yeah. 5 to 10 seconds max. Yeah. They get antsy. They can't, and a lot of people, like a lot of like kids, you know, I guess under 20s that I've spoken to, when Oppenheimer came out, they could not sit through that 3-hour movie, and they were like, this shit was way too long. And I'm like, really? I was fully thoroughly engaged. I didn't check my phone once.
Yeah.
But even my like I think I watched it with my brother. Who did I watch it with? I watched it with somebody. They kept checking their phone, scrolling through it a bit, and then putting it back down, and then bringing it back up, going on Instagram a bit. They just could not sit still, and their attention physically could not be held.
Even for me, whenever I find myself like when we're watching something and I'm like going scrolling, I like consciously I'm like, no, I need to be doing one thing. If I'm watching TV, I'm watching TV.
Right.
So sometimes that forced focus can also help kind of reset your brain of like restlessness. Right. Like, okay, no, focus.
But what does this mean for these kids? Because if they're going into 8-hour jobs, right, where they're expected to focus at least somewhat, right? I don't see any hope for them unless they're able to really rewind and reset their brains in a healthy way.
All of that to say.
To say what?
To say something.
I don't know what we just said, but we said
was the world a simpler place?
Honestly,
it may have been.
It may have been in certain ways. I think each era has its own complications and its own complexities, but technology has definitely changed it. I don't know if it's for the better or the worse.
For the better, yeah. That I think only time will tell.
I have ADHD, so it's just like technology has helped save my ass time and time and again. So it's just like, if we have a middle ground, if we use everything moderately,
I think there's
a middle ground for
everything. I think the moderation aspect is such a huge thing. Is like anything done in excess is
and you're solid.
To you.
Balance
like,
it,
you know,
solid.
like dude, people drink so much water and like they can go into like something called water toxicity. Yeah. Yeah. And that's water.
Right. There was like a water drinking contest. This was a while ago. And
where like the lady drank
she drank too much and then she died or something.
Like some amount of gallons she died. Yeah.
She died, yeah.
So it's like everything done in moderation, I feel like is
it's such a broad like message, but it has so much truth to it.
Absolutely.
Because it's a universal truth. But anyway.
All that to say, I think we need our own generation.
I do too.
I don't think that
we don't fit. We don't fit. We don't belong.
We're not millennials. We're not Gen Z. We're just our own little weirdos playing Club Penguin.
We're in between. We're like the in between gray area.
Talking to people on Kick and playing mini clips.
Mini clips.
If you guys remember,
we're playing mini clips.
Mini clips. Were that
mini clip?
Weren't they called mini clips?
No.
What were the games called?
The website was called Mini Clip.
I know, but like what? Did the
there were just a bunch of different games.
Did they have
also shout out to Puzzle Pirates if anybody has played that. That was very addictive.
Did they have? I'm assuming they had their own names. I guess. Well. Playing on mini.
There's just a bunch of mini games on there, basically.
Yeah, playing mini games on the interwebs.
On the mini clips.
On the mini clips.
Nice.
I do that a lot. I put like S's on the last. Dude,
Arkansas.
I was huh?
Arkansas. That was a different episode.
No, there's a dog that comes to the park, and his name's Bosa after Nick Bosa.
Okay.
Of the sports team guy.
Sure.
I don't know who he is. Something to do with something.
Okay.
Anyways, Nick Bosa, right? So I use the makeup brand Kosas.
Okay.
Right.
so I called him Bosas.
I called him Bosas.
Yeah.
And then like he let it slide, and then he was like, "Just why the fuck are you calling my dog Bosas?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Is that not his name?"
That's hilarious.
I was like, how do you pronounce your dog's name? He's like Bosa, and I was like, oh.
That's hilarious.
I was like, and. It's not one.
There's a makeup brand called Kosas.
Kosas, yeah.
Kosas,
yeah. It's like that TikTok meme was like, what are you gonna do? Send me back to ELD?
That's so funny.
The ELD? Have you seen that meme?
No.
Oh my god, hold on.
I feel like I'm gonna be like TikTok certified after doing all these podcasts with you because
oh my god,
I am being introduced to all these like funny little videos and I'm all for it. This is education. What's ELD? You want to send me back to ELD?
English something learners
with the D's at the end. ELD.
English learners. I don't remember what it's called. Okay. But it was like the dumb kids program.
I think I was in ELD.
I was in some form of ELD.
It's because not dumb kids. I think when English is a second language.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's when you put when you're truthful on your application and you tell them that
Dude,
English is your second language?
It was me and a Mexican kid. I still remember this. I was like in first grade.
You know what's crazy is that the lady that
they would give us treats at the end, so I wasn't complaining.
Like your dogs?
We get goodie bags. Yes, they would teach us, and I'm like, bro, I am so good at like y'all don't even know, but I would act dumb for the goodie bags. They had like erasers and everything, dude.
You're like, I don't want to go back to regular class.
Nah, they would all be so jealous of us, like all the little kids, like it was like kindergarten or something. They'd all just be staring at us, and we're over here like A, B, C, and I'm like, bring on the goodies, bro. I am
shake that ass.
100% Punjabi, samosas, aloo tikki, paneer. I mean, I hated Indian food. We hated roti as kids. Like that's a universal thing, right?
Oh man, dude.
I hated roti as kids. Like we just hated it. That was just not it.
Yeah, man, dude. When we like,
okay, we need to end this episode.
There was like, after this one, one little tidbit. Right. So there was like this 1-2 week span where like we were both feeling like garbage, and I was like, oh man, nothing seems appetizing, and the only thing I wanted was like dal makhani and roti, bro. And
you know when you're hungry enough where it hits.
It broke my heart because like I was so sick and I just didn't feel good, and I was like, the only thing that would feel good is like dal makhani and roti. Okay,
dal makhani, but dal makhani is like the kids' favorite dal if they had to eat it,
right?
So,
and it's just like it made me so sad. I was like, oh my god, how
it makes sense.
I was like, how far we've grown that like that's the only thing that like would make me feel better in this moment,
right? Oh, good times.
But yeah, nice. All that to say, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us with the rants and such, and hopefully this podcast made some sort of sense.
Let us know how your weekdays used to go.
Your homework in the comments below is to let us know.
Seriously,
it's 4:00 on a Wednesday evening.
What did your day look like?
And you just got home and you're about to put your backpack down. What was the first thing you did?
Hit the pantry, hit the snacks.
We would love to know. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you.
We're cutting that out. I was like, the camera's on me. What do I do?
We will see you in an episode very, very soon. Bye.